The photo wasn't even centered, just a bunch of people crammed under bad lighting in a hotel ballroom, heads tilted, plastic smiles, one arm raised mid-toast. But it kept showing up on Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn for some reason. And right there, bottom left corner, you could just barely make out half my face. Before the crop. It was weird I didn't even go. But that's the thing, someone had tagged me anyway, like they forgot I said no or just didn't care, like some part of me was expected to be there no matter what. Like I still belonged. It started with a message I almost deleted. "Hey Josh, can you believe it's been 10 years already? Hope you're well. We're organizing a reunion June 3rd at the Marriott Ballroom. Food, music, open bar, even a photo booth face with tears of joy. Would love to see you there." It was from Erica NG, class secretary, still using the same Gmail from 2012. She always had that tight, bubbly handwriting that looked like it belonged on a planner. I hovered over the reply box, thought about typing, sounds great, just to be polite, but then I didn't. I left it on read and shut my laptop. I hadn't thought about high school in a long time, not in any real way. Not since I packed up my car and drove out of town without saying goodbye to anyone who didn't absolutely need to hear it. But now it was back all at once. Names I hadn't said out loud in years started floating to the top of my brain like oil. Kyle Zhang, Maya Jacobs, Justin Berg, the whole lacrosse crew, the robotics kids who used to hang out in the AV closet. The same crowd that cheered at assemblies, laughed too loud in the cafeteria, kept score of everything like it mattered. I could picture them still, like they were trapped in those yearbook pages, and me, just one of the many faces in the back row. Forgettable. Not in a tragic way, just not worth remembering. I didn't tell anyone about the invite, not my girlfriend, not my coworkers. It felt like one of those things you acknowledge once and then bury again, like old voicemail messages from a number you don't recognize but somehow still know. Still, I kept opening the email again just to reread it, like I needed to remind myself I hadn't imagined it. That they remembered me at all. And then I got the follow-up. "Hey Josh, just wanted to bump this in case it got buried. Would be so great to see you. Let me know either way, yellow heart." It was the emoji that did it, that stupid yellow heart. I clicked reply and typed 2 words, "Can't make it." That should have been it, closed loop, done. But 2 nights later I saw the first post. "Class of 2013 reunited party popper." The caption was all caps, the lighting was awful and the room looked smaller than I remembered it. But there they were, dozens of them, same faces, slightly older, dudes in off-the-rack suits and beer bellies, girls who'd grown out their hair or chopped it all off, a few holding bobbies. The comments were what you'd expect. Y'all look amazing. Why didn't I go? Legends loudly, loudly, loudly. At Josh Bryn you look exactly the same, Elmao. Wait, what? I clicked through to the tag list, I wasn't in it. Not officially. So why the hell had someone tagged me in the photo? I zoomed in and that's when I saw it. Left corner, out of focus, near the edge of the curtain, some guy who looked like me, kind of, but not quite. Dark jacket, short haircut, head turned half away. It wasn't me. But someone, maybe Erica, maybe someone else, had decided it was. Or maybe they didn't care if it was. Maybe they just remembered me in the frame, remembered the shape of me, like muscle memory. I untagged myself, closed the app, and told myself not to look again. A week passed. Then came the group chat invite. Class of 13, ballers only 100. I don't even know who made it, it just popped up in my inbox. Some guy named Richie, profile pic of a jet ski. I stared at the invite for a long time. I didn't hit accept, but I didn't delete it either. Then things got weirder. My phone buzzed one night while I was microwaving leftover curry. It was a DM on Instagram from Kyle Zhang. Kyle freaking Zhang. He used to lead pep rallies like they were halftime shows. Used to call me library boy because I worked part-time at the circulation desk and never went to parties. The message was simple. "Hey, you still in Jersey?" I froze. Not because I was, but because I was. I'd moved to Philadelphia 2 years ago. I hadn't told anyone, not even old coworkers from the summer gig I took after graduation. How the hell did he know? I typed back, "Nah, moved a while ago, why?" No reply. I stared at the screen for a long time. He'd seen it, left it on read. My girlfriend Lena noticed I was off that week. She has this uncanny way of asking questions without making it feel like she's digging. "You okay?" she asked one night while folding socks. "Yeah, just old stuff, high school," I said. She laughed. "Wow, that's not usually something that keeps people up." I didn't explain. She didn't push. That's one of the reasons I love her. Then one morning, I came into work and found a printout on my desk. Black and white, poor quality, a photocopy of the reunion group photo, same one from Facebook. Circled in red ink, the guy in the corner, the one that looked kind of like me. No explanation. I looked around the office, no one said anything, everyone acted normal. I picked it up and walked straight to the break room, dumped it in the shred bin. But something had shifted. This wasn't just nostalgia anymore. Someone wanted me to notice. Later that night, after Lena fell asleep, I went into the guest room and pulled out the old cardboard box I hadn't opened since the move. It had my yearbooks in it. Senior year 2013, Rise Above was the theme, the cover was cracked along the edges. I flipped through it slowly. Page after page of grinning faces, inside jokes, autographs scrawled in gel ink. Then I reached the faculty section and felt my stomach drop. There it was. A message I hadn't remembered until that moment. "Josh, thanks for staying curious. You'll go far even if no one's looking. Ms. Halprin." She was the only teacher who ever really noticed me, who let me read books during homeroom instead of pretending to care about morning announcements. Even now, I could hear her voice in my head, soft, a little breathy, like she was always trying to talk under the noise. I kept flipping. In the back page's Candids section, I saw another photo. Cafeteria, people laughing, a tray in midair. And there in the background again, me. Always just slightly out of focus. Always near the edge. So maybe that's what this was about. Not the photo, not the reunion. But the fact that after all this time, even with 10 years of space, I was still being seen like a shadow of someone else. Someone's memory of me, not me. And now, for the first time in a decade, I wanted to know what would happen if I stepped forward. Not to be in the photo, but to find out who'd been cropping me out this whole time. It was 9:46 on a Thursday morning when I saw the second photo. Same angle, different pose. This time they were mid-laugh, some of them pointing toward the camera, a few holding up peace signs. The lighting was slightly better. Someone must have uploaded an album, and in the bottom left again that blurred half-profile face. And again I was tagged. Except this time the tag wasn't from Erica. It was from a burner account. The account was called @ClassicOnic13. No posts, no followers, no profile picture, just the one action, tagging me in the same photo I'd already untagged myself from. Twice now. I clicked on the name, nothing to go on. Blocked it. I sat there for a second, thumb hovering over my screen, before I went to Erica's profile and sent her a message. "Hey, random question, did someone tag me in one of the reunion photos on purpose?" I didn't expect her to reply right away. She had 2 kids now. If her profile was anything to go by, she was probably too busy for this kind of nonsense. But 5 minutes later, the typing dots popped up. Then a message. "Hey Josh, I didn't tag you but saw that too. Thought maybe you changed your mind and showed up late, you weren't there." I stared at the blinking cursor for a while. Nope, never showed. 3 dots again, then nothing. And then weird, I'll ask around. I didn't hear anything for 3 days. In that time, I went back and forth a dozen times about whether I was overreacting. Maybe someone genuinely thought I'd been there. Maybe I had a doppelganger. Maybe people were just nostalgic and tagging everyone they could think of. But that didn't explain the printout on my desk. It didn't explain the burner account. It didn't explain why Kyle had messaged me out of the blue, asking if I was still in Jersey. Something was off. So I did something I hadn't done in years. I opened Facebook, scrolled through our high school class page, and looked at the attendee list. And that's when I saw it. Josh Brenner confirmed. I blinked. What? I clicked on the RSVP post Erica had made a month ago. People had commented under it with jokes, memes, old photos. There, near the top, was a reply I never wrote. "Can't wait to see everyone. Let's make it messy face with tears of joy." Posted under my name. With my profile picture. Only it wasn't my profile picture. It was my old one from senior year. The one I deleted years ago. Someone had made a fake. I messaged Erica again. Hey, can I ask a weird favor? Can you check who actually RSVP'd for me? I think someone made a fake profile. This time she took longer to reply. Eventually she said, "Ooh wow, yeah, I didn't realize that wasn't your real account. Someone said you changed your name on social, so I figured it was just your alt. I can take it down if you want." Please do. I waited. A few hours later, the fake RSVP disappeared. But now I had questions I didn't know how to ask. I sat with that for a while. Lena noticed me spiraling. "You've been super quiet lately," she said, half curled on the couch, wrapped in a fleece blanket. "Like, unusually quiet even for you." "I think someone impersonated me at my high school reunion," I said, before I could talk myself out of it. She blinked. "What, like showed up pretending to be you?" "I don't know, maybe, or at least made people think I was there. Someone RSVP'd under my name, used an old photo, tagged me in pictures. I even got a fake printout at work." "Whoa, okay, that's weird, like stalking weird." I shrugged. "Or just screwing with me. I don't know who'd even care enough to do that." She was quiet for a second, then she sat up straighter. "Do you think it's someone from high school, or someone now?" I hadn't thought about it that way. "High school has to be." She leaned back, processing. "Do you want me to help you figure it out?" I wanted to say no, but I didn't. "Yeah, actually I do." We spent the weekend going through what little digital footprint I had left from back then. Old group photos, scanned yearbook pages, screenshots from our class Facebook group before I deactivated. I even found a message from 2016 I'd forgotten about. Kyle had DM'd me a job opening at his startup that I never replied to. Back then, I was working at a warehouse picking up night shifts to cover rent. The message felt so out of place now, like a glitch in the timeline. "Any chance it's him?" Lena asked. "I mean, Kyle was a dick in school, but I don't think he'd go out of his way to fake a profile of me." "But he did message you recently, right?" "Yeah, asking if I was still in Jersey, then nothing." She frowned. "Maybe we ask him." "Ask him what? Hey man, you pretending to be me and tagging me in reunion photos for fun." She cracked a smile. "Yeah, probably not like that." I ended up sending a casual message. "Hey, saw you tagged me in some reunion stuff. Didn't recognize the photo. Was that just a joke?" It took him 2 days to reply. "Yo lol, I didn't tag you. Thought I saw you there though. Some guy def looked like you, wearing that same hoodie you used to rock lol." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. I hadn't worn that hoodie in years. It was dark gray, with a tear in the left sleeve and a faded logo from a summer camp I only went to once. It wasn't the kind of thing anyone else would remember. Definitely not Kyle. I asked, "What do you mean he looked like me, like close enough to be twins?" "No, just same vibe lol, skinny, quiet, kinda stood in the back, thought it was you being all mysterious or whatever." I stared at the screen. Kyle wasn't smart enough to gaslight someone. But he was observant in weird ways, and if he noticed the hoodie. "Did you talk to him?" "Nah, he dipped early, didn't even get a drink. Was talking to Ms. Halprin though, remember her?" Ms. Halprin. My heart kicked. She was the only teacher I ever really talked to, the only adult who didn't treat me like background noise. And she was still at the school, apparently, still teaching English, still living in the same house if Google was up to date. Suddenly everything clicked. Not fully, not clearly. But something shifted. If anyone had seen the guy close enough to tell if it was me, it'd be her. I looked up the school staff directory and found her email. "Hi Ms. Halprin," I typed. "This is Josh Brenner, class of 2013. I hope you're doing well. I heard you were at the reunion and I wanted to ask something kind of strange." I reread it, then kept typing. "I wasn't there, but people keep tagging me in photos and saying they saw me. I think someone might have shown up pretending to be me. Did you talk to someone who said they were me?" I sat there for 20 minutes before hitting send. I didn't expect a reply. But that night I got one. Subject: Ray reunion. "Josh, I did speak to someone I thought was you. He came up to me quietly and thanked me for my help senior year. said something about never forgetting the library pass and how I let him skip the pep rally once. I assumed it was you, same eyes, same voice. But now that you say this, I'm not so sure. Please call me. She left her number. I didn't sleep that night. And the next morning, before I could decide what I'd say, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Voicemail. I hit play, hands shaking. Josh, this is Ms. Halprin. I'm really sorry. I should have realized. Call me back as soon as you can. There's something you need to know. You don't remember him, do you? She asked, her voice soft, almost regretful. I had her on speakerphone, standing in my kitchen with the fridge still open behind me, cold air pouring out. I know, I said, should I? There was a long pause on the other end. And then she told me about Ethan Doyle. I shouldn't be sharing this, Ms. Halprin began, but you deserve to know. She said she hadn't thought about Ethan in years, not since he graduated a year after me. He wasn't in my class, but apparently he was a quiet kid, transferred junior year, lived a few blocks from the school, didn't make friends easily. Teachers liked him well enough, but he mostly kept to himself, worked in the library during study periods, never caused trouble. He reminded me of you, she said. That's why I remembered him. I leaned against the counter, trying to make sense of it. You're saying he pretended to be me? I don't know if it was intentional, but when he came up to me at the reunion, I just assumed. He had the same calm way of speaking, same eyes. He said, you let me stay behind that day during the rally. I'll never forget that. I thought it was you. I rubbed my face with both hands. But I don't remember him at all. You wouldn't. You graduated the year before he arrived, but I think he remembered you. That didn't make sense. How could someone I'd never met be showing up to a reunion, pretending to be me? After we hung up, I paced the apartment. Lena sat cross-legged on the floor, watching me. So he was never in your grade? She asked. No, he came in after I left, but he knew who I was. That's what freaks me out. Could be someone who saw you in a club or something. I wasn't in clubs. Yearbooks. I blinked. We still had the box out from last week. I dug through it and found the junior yearbook, my senior year. Flip to the back. There, Ethan Doyle, class of 2014. Grainy photo, hair longer than mine, eyes sharp but distant, no quote under his name. I didn't recognize him at all. But the weird part. Next to his picture, someone had written in blue ink. Thanks for being kind, it helped, E. I didn't remember signing his book. But I recognized my handwriting. I think he got my yearbook somehow, I said out loud. Maybe picked it up from the library or something. Maybe he saw something in you, Lena offered, some kind of connection. But why now? No answer. That weekend, I tried to track him down. Google turned up nothing at first. No social media, no LinkedIn, no obituaries, thank God, just a few old honor roll mentions from our school newsletter and a chess tournament listing from 2015. Eventually, I found a Reddit account tied to an email handle, Ethan Doesn't Speak. No posts, no comments. Just one saved thread from 8 months ago. Title, Has anyone ever tried reinventing themselves completely, like literally pretending to be someone else? That was it. I clicked through. The comments were half jokes, half serious. People talking about moving to new towns, changing names, ghosting old lives. But buried in the middle, there was one comment Ethan had saved. I did it once, just for a night, walked into a reunion I didn't belong to. No one knew the difference. I just wanted to feel like I mattered for once. That was posted 6 months before our reunion. I sat with that for a long time. The idea of it, the desperation behind it, the fact that someone had been watching my life from the sidelines long enough to walk into a room full of people I hadn't seen in 10 years and be close enough to fool them. What was he trying to get from it? Closure. Revenge. Something else. That night I got another message. Anonymous account, just one line. You don't miss them, but I did. That was it. No name, no profile photo. Blocked again. But this time I didn't delete the message. The next morning, I called Ms. Halprin again. I need to talk to him, I said. She sighed, I don't have a number, but I can give you an address. Last I heard, he was still living with his aunt. Can I have it? She hesitated. Josh, I don't know if confronting him is a good idea. I'm not trying to confront him, I just want to know why. She gave it to me. It was a small brick duplex about 30 minutes outside Philly near the edge of Trenton. Overgrown lawn, cracked walkway, faded mailbox. I parked across the street and waited for a while. Watched the windows, no movement. After 20 minutes, I got out and walked up the steps. Knocked. No answer. I knocked again. The door opened an inch. A woman in her 50s, short gray hair and paint on her hands, peeked through. Can I help you? Hi, I said, trying not to sound like a cop. I'm looking for Ethan Doyle. I think he used to go to Eastlake High. She narrowed her eyes. He's not here. Do you know where he is? She stared at me for a long time. You're Josh, aren't you? I froze. Yeah. She nodded slowly, then opened the door wider. You better come in. The house smelled like turpentine and instant coffee, art supplies everywhere, a canvas half finished in the corner. I'm his aunt, she said, sitting down in a frayed armchair. Ethan doesn't live here anymore, moved out last year. Do you know where? She shook her head. He left after the reunion, said he needed a change, took a bus south, left behind most of his stuff. She stood up and went to a box near the window, pulled out something wrapped in a gray hoodie. I recognized it instantly. The hoodie I used to wear in high school, the one with the summer camp logo. She unwrapped it and handed me what was inside. A sketchbook. On the first page was a detailed pencil drawing of the reunion photo. But instead of the blurry guy in the corner, it was a clear portrait of me. And under it, in small, neat handwriting, I wanted to belong to something real. I didn't know what to say. I think he looked up to you, his aunt said. Maybe too much. He used to say you were the only one in those yearbooks who looked like they didn't fake it. I kept flipping through the pages. Drawings of high school hallways, cafeteria tables, lockers, my face over and over, always in the margins, always drawn from memory. I never knew him, I said, voice low. She looked at me. He knew you. When I got back home, Lena was waiting. I showed her the sketchbook. She didn't say anything for a long time, just flipped through it page by page. Finally, she looked at me. So what now? I sat down beside her. I don't know, but I think someone out there is trying to rewrite something, and for the first time, I kind of want to help. I always thought I didn't matter to anyone back then. Turns out someone remembered everything I forgot. Not in a creepy way, not exactly. Just like he'd been collecting pieces of a puzzle I didn't even know I was part of. I couldn't stop flipping through the sketchbook. Each page was more specific than the last, tiny background moments I'd never told anyone about. The side door hallway by the gym I used to sneak through to avoid assemblies. The crooked library cart I always used during my aid period. Even the spiral-bound notebook I carried around with the frayed blue duct tape on the spine. He had drawn it exactly. He must have been watching from a distance. Not in some dramatic horror movie way, just quietly, like someone who didn't have a spotlight learning to memorize shadows instead. I found myself looking for any sign of malice. But there was none. Only longing. He wasn't mocking me. He was filling in the gaps. I called Ms. Halpern again that night. Did Ethan ever talk about me back when he was a student? She hesitated. Not directly, she said, but he'd reference things you said in class, stuff I thought he made up at the time. I just figured maybe I'd forgotten you, said it. Like what? One time he stayed after to finish a writing assignment. I asked him why he always did things last minute. He said, Josh once told me some people work best under the weight of silence. I exhaled. That was something I said to myself mostly, once, during senior year when the school therapist tried to convince me to join a peer group. Nobody else was around. I don't think I ever said that to him. Maybe he overheard it. Maybe. But something deeper than maybe was beginning to settle in my gut. What if he wasn't just pretending to be me? What if he thought he was me? Or some version of me? The next week, I couldn't focus on work. Lena had already picked up the emotional weight and started quietly Googling bus records, missing person boards, anything with the name Ethan Doyle. Most of it was a dead end, but she did find one post on a small art forum, written under the handle Still Not Seen 13. Posted 2 months after the reunion. Sometimes you can't go back, but you still want to know what would have happened if you had mattered more. So you step into someone else's story just for one night, and for a while they believe it. But then the lights come up and you're just a shadow again, and no one asks your name. But it's okay, because now at least you know what it felt like. There were no replies, no likes. Just one sad entry in the void. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about the way people talked about me at the reunion, not me exactly, but the version of me that Ethan had embodied. Apparently I'd been mature, calm, mysterious, looked great, quiet, but cool. That wasn't who I was in high school. Not really. I was the kid who volunteered to help the janitor clean up after Spirit Week because I couldn't stand the noise in the gym. The guy who walked home instead of accepting rides just to avoid the awkward silences. The one who stayed after in Ms. Halpern's room not because I had questions, but because it was quiet and she didn't make me talk. But somehow Ethan had made that into something worth admiring. He'd rewritten the version of me that even I had tried to forget. One morning I opened my email and saw something new. Subject: from him. From unknown address. The body of the message was just one Dropbox link. I stared at it for a long time. Scanned it for viruses, triple-checked the metadata, it looked clean. Lena stood beside me. You gonna open it? I nodded. Inside the folder. One video file. One image. One text document. The video was a selfie recording. Ethan, slightly older than his yearbook photo, thinner face, same quiet voice. Hi Josh. I don't expect you to understand this, I don't even fully understand it myself. But I wanted to say thank you. For being the person you were, even if you didn't know I was watching. He looked down then back up. I saw you in the hallway that one day, you picked up a dropped tray for a girl who didn't thank you. I don't know why, but that stayed with me, that someone could do something kind without needing to be seen. Be it. I used to imagine what it would be like to live your life, just one day. So I did. Just one. And it helped more than you know. He smiled just barely and then reached out and the screen went black. The image was a scan of the reunion photo, this time unedited. And in this version, he hadn't been in the corner. He'd been dead center, where I might have stood if I'd gone. Arms around two classmates I barely remembered. Smile, wide eyes lit up. He looked happy. The text document was titled, For the Real Josh. It was a letter. You were the background to most people. But to me, you were the main character. I don't think you ever meant to be, that's what made it real. People like you made it okay to just exist. So thank you. For existing. I promise I'll stop trying to take your place. I'm going to try being me now. But I thought you deserved to know what you meant to someone. I sat there for a long time after that. Didn't cry. Didn't smile either. Just felt everything all at once. Lena slid the laptop closed. You were his anchor, she said. Without knowing it, I whispered. She nodded, sometimes that's enough. We didn't hear from him again. I checked the forum every few days, nothing new. Until one morning 3 weeks later, I saw a new post. Starting over in a new place, this time as myself. Don't know who I am yet. But I know who I'm not. And that's a start. Signed AD. No comments. No tags. But I saved it anyway. And a week later, as if on cue, I got a new photo from the reunion. This one from Erica. Just a simple message. Found the original, thought you might want it, no tags this time. I opened it. The group stood in front of the buffet table, balloons in the background, half the people mid-blink. But in the left corner, nobody was cropped out. The space was just empty. As if it had been waiting for someone who never came. Or maybe someone who finally stopped needing to be there. I was halfway through sealing the box when I stopped. The sketchbook sat on top, closed but not forgotten. I ran my hand over the cover once, then reopened it. Not to study it again. Just to make space for something new. It had been a month since the last message. No new photos, no new tags, no Shadow Josh appearing in my notifications. Just a quiet sort of closure humming beneath the surface. But it wasn't the kind of ending I expected. No confrontation, no dramatic unmasking, no long face-to-face where someone says, it was me all along. Just a guy, Ethan Doyle, trying to borrow my shape long enough to remember his own. And I let that sit because I understood it now. More than I wanted to admit. Growing up, I always felt like a half-developed character in someone else's story. Never quite picked for the group project, never quite invited to the parties. Not hated, just forgettable. And I was okay with that for a long time. Told myself I preferred it. That I liked being on the sidelines. But when that reunion invite came in, something cracked. Not enough to make me go, but enough to notice how much it still stung. Being remembered wrong. Being blurred into the corner of something I once called home. Lena and I talked about it a lot in the weeks that followed. How do you want to handle it? She asked. What's there to handle? I'd reply. He's gone, I've got closure, kind of. But it didn't feel like enough. Because deep down, I didn't want it to just end. I wanted it to mean something. That's when I got the idea. It was small at first, half a thought I muttered into a coffee mug one morning. I think I want to go back to Eastlake. Lena looked up like for a visit. Yeah, not for them, for me. So we planned it. Nothing flashy, no RSVP, no announcements. Just a drive, a weekday afternoon, one more trip down the memory lane I used to avoid like traffic. Eastlake High hadn't changed much. The bricks were still that weird mix of tan and rust red. The marquee out front still had missing letters. Reading is F*N, it said in crooked plastic tiles. I laughed under my breath. We parked across the street, and for a second I just sat there. Lena didn't rush me. When I finally stepped out, the wind smelled like rain and sun-warmed pavement. I crossed the street and walked around the back of the building, toward the old courtyard. There was the bench. The one I used to sit at during lunch when I didn't feel like being seen. I took a seat. It was warm from the afternoon sun, a little lopsided. I looked around. No Ethan, no ghosts, just me. And yet I didn't feel alone. Inside the building, Ms. Halprin had arranged to meet me during her free period. Her hair had gone more silver, but her eyes hadn't changed. Hey, I said when she opened the classroom door. She smiled. You made it. Yeah. We talked for 20 minutes about Ethan, about that night, about what it meant to be noticed even once. She looked at me, hands folded gently on her desk. You know, she said, you were never invisible, Josh. Felt like it. Maybe to some, but never to everyone. That's the trick, I think, learning whose gaze matters. I nodded, not because I fully believed it, but because I wanted to. On the way out, I stopped by the library. They remodeled it, new chairs, better lighting, fewer books, more screens. But in the far back corner, the old circulation desk was still there. I walked over and touched the surface, scratched, familiar. Behind it, taped to the bulletin board, was something handwritten on lined paper. Sometimes we don't need to be the loudest to be remembered. Sometimes we just need to be real. I didn't ask who put it there. I didn't need to. That night back at the apartment, I finally unboxed my own memories. Old journals, a copy of the essay I'd written for college admissions never submitted, some dried-up pens, a Polaroid of me half smiling holding a book in front of my face. And tucked inside one folder, a photo. Not the reunion. This one was from the last day of school. I don't remember who took it. But there I was, sitting on the lawn under a tree, hoodie on, book in lap. Eyes open. I wasn't smiling. But I wasn't hiding either. I scanned the photo and uploaded it to a new social profile. Not for clout, not for comments. Just to leave a footprint that was real. Captioned it simply. Class of 2013, I was there, maybe just not in the way you remember. Weeks passed. One night I got a message. Anonymous. No name. Just this. I saw the post. I think I'm finally ready to draw myself too. Thank you for giving me the space. No signature. But I didn't need one. I wrote back. You were never in my way. And if you ever come back, I hope you sit front and center. Life went on. But the shadows didn't feel quite so heavy anymore. And when the 10-year reunion memories faded from everyone else's feeds, I still kept one photo. Not because I needed proof I was there, but because now I knew. Even if they cropped me out, I'd always been in the frame. If this story moved you, subscribe for more real-life confessions and emotional journeys like this one.